how do you build a counterculture brand? You have to go outside mainstream media, and you can still do it with a sticker. There's still the next great Supreme is just one sticker away.
Leaf Life.
When you realize that the popular approach to building your brand isn't as effective as you'd hoped, how does an industrious entrepreneur innovate unconventional ways to get people to pay attention and buy in? Well, it's all about breaking the rules. This is guerrilla marketing.
Getting gritty.
One of my favorites.
Our first segment, what is guerrilla marketing? And in our second segment, cannabis, the guerrilla industry. Kind of like the Revolutionary War, you know? We hide in trees and we shoot at the lined up soldiers when they were fighting the English. Maybe that's a bad example.
Yes.
But before we get educated, we've got to get medicated, so let's get stoned. All right. That's how it works. We come in, we do a podcast, we smoke weed, we go home, we smoke more weed. Wherever your day has led you, now it's time to fire up, chew up, drink up, get in the mood as we introduce this show's Greg the Guinea Pig.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Greg the Guinea Pig. Who's our guest this week?
Greg the Guinea Pig warning. These tasks are undertaken by experienced cannabis users and under the supervision of accredited professionals. So please take our advice and definitely try this at home.
Yeah, we smoke, we dab, we eat, we do cannabis all kinds of ways. And today, very proudly, Devin Ryan is a sales exec for WEEDMAPS and has also been a promotions executive for the Cookies brand as well as PABST Blue Ribbon. This is his fourth time being on the Leaf Live podcast. He's a true friend. The first time was a Greg the Guinea Pig when we used to have two guests, and now he's the man. Devin, welcome back to the Leaf Life podcast.
Thank you for having me, folks.
My brother. All right, let's spin AJ's wheel and see what's in AJ's. Oh, hold on. We got a pinch hitter.
And now, stepping up to the plate, here's today's pinch hitter.
All right, AJ, you're going to be the pinch hitter. Go ahead and spin that wheel, and let's see what's in AJ's stash.
Yeah. Let's see, y'all. So it looks like we've got some Washington's gas face bomb live resin press right here. Oh my goodness, look at that. Rosin, sorry. Yes, but look at how beautiful. I love. All right, I'm excited.
Man. Let's go with a cold start today.
So we're busting out Stella.
Wow,
Stella is a
wow.
mothership piece that we keep here in the studio on display because it was gifted to us by Scott Deppy and the Mothership team. It's not every day that we utilize Stella. Devin, you picked the wrong day to be a pinch hitter, brother, but we respect. I will take your dab for you. How about that?
Go.
That's
Thank
brotherhood,
you,
right?
That is brotherhood.
That's friendship, right?
Appreciate you.
You know I love you, right?
Yeah.
My
Love you
gentleman.
too.
There we go. Look at that.
Let's go.
It's about teamwork, making the
Got an
dream work,
amazing
boys.
family.
That's right.
He's got a beautiful
Represent
wife and two
Washingtons.
kids. Wearing his Seattle Mariners All-Star
Let's
game
go.
hat. You went to the All-Star game, didn't you, bro?
I did. We did some guerrilla activity around that All-Star game.
Ooh, I can't wait to talk about it. AJ, go ahead and light up that dab, and let's get right into the subject matter. So what is guerrilla marketing, my gentleman?
Well, in my
Right, I mean,
opinion,
it's unconventional,
It's
right?
unconventional, outside the box, color outside the lines. I like to think low cost, low lift. Ideally getting maximum exposure in high trafficked areas like an all-star game, posting up in an alley, kind of talking to people, maybe flying flags.
Sorry to interrupt, boys. It's a timing thing. Mike, jump in there.
Oh, I go first. All right. Thank you, Rex. Hold on.
see.
Check this out.
This would be the gas.
Gas face.
It's amazing.
Gas face, yup.
Face.
You know, that's some gassy OG.
It's some low temp.
Very low temp.
We like them flavors.
Nice light.
Yeah,
So,
nice flavors.
Also, Chaz is a lot less of your buckets.
you don't want Chaz. That's when you burn your
wants
banger.
Chaz.
So, Devin,
Yes.
when we talk about guerrilla, it is like, comparable to like guerrilla warfare, right? Where you have to find a different way because most, like I mentioned in the opening, most companies just go through the conventional way of marketing. Lately, it's been social media, Instagram, which is largely ineffective. Wes, why is that? Look, he caught him off guard. Well, he explains it so freaking well in our sales meetings, how, social media is like,
Well,
you're
we're not here
really-
to sell people. Before I did the Leaf, I worked for a tennis shop, and I remember having to go hang up flyers at tennis courts for lessons and tournaments And it was like, my supplies were like Ziploc bags, printed out, color paper and zip ties and a list. And it was, probably illegal, for, for the owner to be like, just, on city property, but it was a core part of his business, was just putting up those flyers at tennis courts and letting people know, hey, there's a tennis shop, or there's a tennis tournament. Back before there was the internet or before there was social media. And that marketing it's kind of priceless.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's attractive about guerrilla marketing, is that you're not paying for a billboard. You're not paying for an ad in a beautiful publication like The Leaf. You're just finding a way to go out and do it.
Yeah.
And back in the
by
day,
Instagram, the majority of the people that are clicking on your ad or seeing your ad are not even in a weed shop, right? So when I say largely ineffective, you're appealing to an extremely small percentage of people that are actually going to buy your product when they see that marketing. So, it's a lot of companies that I come across say, we tried social media. Now, it wasn't last year, the year before, the year before. Everybody was all about social media. We want to pay an influencer to,
Yeah.
And then they didn't see any results. Right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, what next? Well, we got to try something new and innovative. What can we do that no one's ever done before? And you're the guy for that, because you've done it a bunch of times.
We've definitely done some things we've never, seen before in the cannabis industry. Back to the urban golf event. That was a really fun one, but
explain that, dude. We got to, if you're going to bring it up, I was going to save it for the second segment, but the urban golf event, urban golf is where you use a foam ball and you set milk crates in certain areas of a city.
Back alleys, ideally where cars are not. And
but the ball's not hard. It's not going to break any glass.
It's not going to break anything. You're using real golf clubs. You're hitting it where it lies, and you're generally trying to hit the milk crate. I believe the dude's name was Tiger Hood, who started it using actual milk cartons with milk crates in New York.
Nice.
Shout out to Max and Drew, the Muni kids, who kind of put me on the game.
MUNI, Muni kids out of Portland, Oregon.
Out of Portland, Oregon. They still have urban golf meetups, summertime, Thursdays. I believe they start at 6. They play through Burnside. But we did our version of that here in Seattle. And, it was that. We had 18 holes of golf. We brought in key influencers and
on 420.
Tastemakers on 420.
In the pandemic.
Because we had to be outside. And, we were safe. But it was a one-of-a-kind event from, people like yourself to name Marcus Lalario comes up to mind.
Wow.
That came through. We had some artists. But it was truly an event that nobody has really done before. And, tastemakers like Mario and a few others, you guys selves that were there, the feedback that we got was something not normal, and
in a good way,
rippled out. And people were talking about it and asking when we're going to do this again next year. Sadly, we weren't able to do it again, but it's still talked about to this day as we are. But for me, I'm happy to go back into that. But when you asked me what is guerrilla marketing, I kind of wanted to rewind for myself and y'all and the guests on what that kind of how I was inspired of that, and I'm grateful to still be in the field of doing it. But growing up in Hawaii, you had stickers everywhere, stickers, everywhere. The stickers everywhere. You slap them, slap the sticks, and you would see stickers everywhere. And surfers, it was like the status was what sticker was on your board. And that sort of awareness that at that time people might not have even known what Volcom was, but you saw that stone and you were like, what is that? And a kid from Chicago, never seen that before, seeing it at a surfer or they're visiting for the first time going to Oahu and they see these stickers, it then ripples out and you kind of saw that effect. I was lucky enough to then, start my career, work for Quicksilver, which was a massive brand, counterculture at the time, that really, we weren't able to do traditional marketing. You didn't see a Quicksilver commercial. You would see it in a surf film, or if you go to certain places, beach towns, you would see stickers on the telephone poles, on the benches, everywhere else. And that sort of brand awareness to me was Guerrilla at the time, not even knowing what it was. So then quickly, you know, moving fast, but kind of king of sticker man, in my opinion, was Shepard Fairey. With the Obey.
Yeah, he's the
Guerrilla
founder
jersey.
of
He's
Obey.
the founder, you know, like
I met him recently.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
I went to his gallery in Los Angeles, very close to Dodger Stadium, for a show. And sure enough, he was there. Billy Idol was there. And I talked to Shepard for a bit, tried to get him to illustrate our cover, but I didn't get too far. You know? So he's the founder of Obey. Everybody knows the Obey brand. It was a Guerrilla. He was a tagger.
And how did that happen?
Yeah, Guerrilla.
Stickers everywhere. Massive Andre the Giant heads being like, what is that?
Yeah.
And he literally, the story that I've read, and I've never got to meet the guy, but was like, reaction. He literally put it up for reaction to get people talking about it. Yeah. And it's not like, you know, depending on where that was placed, would get those impressions, as we like to call today. But ultimately, you get a couple of the right people talking, you know, word of mouth spreads at that time. Back, this was 89, 90, I think, is when he first slapped it up. So to think that brand grew, it took a decade really to kind of become
89 or 90, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's,
I know when I saw,
because like I always think of, I don't think of him coming before the Banksies and Mr. Brainwash and all that stuff, but he's been around for that long.
Yeah, and so that sort of street art, as we like to call now, you know, it's that to me was kind of the first real guerrilla marketing of brand awareness. To then, you know, wheat pasting. We did that big at Quicksilver, and I'm happy to say
what's that? Yeah,
wheat pasting is basically like a really thin. I mean, you don't want to use a thick poster paper, right?
Yes.
The thinner the better, and it's basically like a glue, a formula of glue and water, and you roll it. You roll it up on the walls. I know on the East Coast it's a lot bigger than I think it is on the West Coast, but you go into inner cities, you see it. You'll see it downtown Seattle right now. I mean, right down in Soto, the Mariners rolled out a wheat paste campaign.
Baseball.
They don't have to do it, but it's kind of
it touches. It touches.
It's talking
culture.
exact culture, exactly. So that sort of marketing, that was like the start of me really not even understanding it, to then later on looking back like, damn, I got to see and be a part of some really dope shit that I didn't even know I was doing, or being a part of these companies that were doing guerrilla marketing because they were counterculture. Now going back to action sports, that was, if you were a skater, a stoner, or a surfer, you were labeled a stoner, a deadbeat. You're not going to amount to anything.
Don't have a job.
You know, like this, what are you doing? You're going to go skate and surf? Like, then I got to be a part of this company that went from, you know, the counterculture, trying to sell trunks and t-shirts, to then mainstream, you know.
Richard really nailed it too with Volcom. Like, I mean, back when I was growing up, you couldn't even get a big sticker. That was for team members only. The shops did not sell them.
Wow.
You couldn't, like, those stuff was unobtainable. It was only for the team members.
And endorsement deals.
Yeah, and that's the other side of guerrilla marketing that like really takes off, is that exclusivity.
The scarcity of it.
Yeah.
But
Because you couldn't go to Amazon or Sticker Junkie.
There was
Like today, if I want a Supreme sticker,
you can get
I don't have
anything
to
you
get it
want.
from Supreme. I can just literally make my
Back in
own.
the day, you
even.
had to make the team.
To make the team, and then you would get smaller versions, maybe 4-6 inch size, that you would go to TNC and you would have a case right at the cash wrap that would have stickers, because they knew that if those stickers got out and they put them on the back of the truck, they're doing
you were in the club.
You're in the club, but then you're also helping the brand do the marketing without even having to do anything. So again, low cost, low lift. Comes down to a sticker, brah.
A sticker. On the second segment, we'll talk about how cannabis is the guerrilla industry. But first, brother, it's time for you to play Know Your Pigeon.
Round like 3 now. Like,
The language is beautiful and diverse as the islands themselves.
That's our Ebonics. That's our ethnic background. That's what we came from.
This is Know Your Pigeon.
That's how we communicate with each other. That's how
I knew
others
you
can
were going to
communicate
bust
with
this
us.
out, kind of, again.
Come on, Patrama.
Man grew up in Hawaii. He's Hawaiian, so you should know your pigeon. Right, Devin?
Small kind, bro.
I'll give you the phrase in the Polynesian dialect called pigeon, and you have to translate the meaning. Are you ready?
Let's go.
My gentlemen.
Let's go. You got
Here we
this.
go. Number 1. Loco Moco with Shave Ice Serious Grinds broke them out, brah.
I'm gonna show you. I make the Loco Mocos pretty consistently for my kids on probably like every other week. I'll show you the pic.
Making Loco Moco,
and
bro.
And then Shave Ice. Come on, man. That's mainstream now.
What's
but
it?
broke the mouth is like.
What's
I
it mean
want
in
it.
English?
I want it.
Okay.
I want it. Loco Moco, Shave Ice, broke the mouth like so good. Like ono.
He's
good.
right.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
good.
that's
show
correct.
you the Loco
Or-
Moco recent.
There's the Loco Moco you had it this morning.
That's what I'm talking
Loco
about.
Moco with
You know I
Shave
did
Ice.
it right because I chopped that green onion.
That's
baby.
restaurant quality
Let's go.
right there,
Let's go.
bruh.
Loco Moco with Shave Ice Serious Grinds broke the mouth, bro. Or that delicious breakfast with a surprise dessert was quite delicious and filling, and I'm quite satisfied. Okay, number 2, you ready?
Howley translation.
Yeah, that's right.
If you're ever
Know
in
your
Terminal D,
pigeon.
you'll
Way.
see Tech.
Number 2. Shoots, brah. Pipeline going off. Gonna paddle out and go big. Okay.
Said no local ever.
Maybe you could say it the right way,
bruh.
Fred.
I mean, charge them, bro. Go charge them because it's firing right now.
Yeah.
You know, mix in a little Cali Quicksilver
Just
with
a little
that.
double
but
overhead
The
on
waves
you.
are waves are firing. Let's get out there. Let's go.
Let's go.
Charge them, bro.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or, okay, right now the surfing at the world famous Surf Break Bonsai Pipeline is very prolific.
Oh,
Therefore,
gosh.
I'm going to get on my surfboard and do some surfing on some very large waves.
Chat GBT right there for you.
Howley, like you said.
Johnny Tsunami.
Here we go, brother. Number 3, you ready?
Yes, Rick.
How's it, brother? You like take the kind over to the kind and do the kind?
Oh. I mean, I'm hoping it'd be how's it, sister? We go over and do the kind of the kind. Just saying. But if you want to go say how to the brother and you want to go make out and do the kind, the kind, then you go do that. But I'm gonna go with the sister.
Pitter patter.
That's incorrect. The correct answer is, hello, friend. How would you like to get in our cars and drive to the Heiau to give our respects to our ancestors and the fire goddess Pele?
Hey.
Afterward, we'll convene with family for a delicious traditional dinner consisting of roast pork, poi, and plantains. How's it, brother? You
man,
like
I
take
love
the
me some
kind over to the
plantains.
kind and do the kind?
That's just straight from Waikiki, like the bus tourists
yeah.
picking up all the guys going that way. But
It doesn't work, he's
It
saying.
doesn't
It's
work.
not local.
Yeah.
If you want to discover cannabis news, reviews, entertainment, and culture, and explore every single Leaf magazine at your convenience, search leafmagazines.com. Coming up in our second segment, we'll dive into how cannabis is the guerrilla industry. We'll get another spin of AJ's wheel, too. The party continues in just a sec with Leaf Life.
These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit forming.
Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment.
Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug.
There may be health risks associated with consumption of these products.
For use by adults 21 and older.
Keep out of the reach of children.
Leaf Life.
Welcome to the second half of this Leaf Life show called Guerrilla Marketing. In just a moment, we'll get into how cannabis is the guerrilla industry, and we'll spin AJ's wheel to see what products Devin Ryan, who's a sales executive for WEEDMAPS and has also been a promotions executive for the Cookies brand, wow, as well as PABST Blue Ribbon and Quicksilver, as we learned in the first segment. He's this show's Greg the Guinea Pig and what he's going to be trying next. AJ, let's spin that wheel and see what's in AJ's stash.
All right, y'all. We got some more beautiful fresh press fire. This is called Gooch Juice by Washington's Southern Washington brand. Southern Washington brand. All right, cold start.
Go ahead and load up that bucket. Let's take a cold start. Get all them terps in there for you, buddy.
And our beautiful mothership piece, custom designed for the studio.
Thank
I'm
you,
using
Scott.
this hot knife right here. A
Beautiful.
product of Aereo Vape.
Pardon the torch.
Aereo Vape.
Okay, Rex is firing it up. Here we
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Devin, what else is going on, brother? You're looking well. You got the wife and kids. The wife's, of course, amazing. And the kids are getting older
Yes, they're getting
every
older.
year.
I have a middle schooler
Aren't you
now.
teaching baseball, too, for the
You're
little
up.
one?
coaching. I like
coaching
to say
or whatever. Managing.
Yeah, managing too. That's a
As a
thing.
manager.
I mean,
Can't trade the
parents
kids.
are as much as the management as the kids.
Has your
at
son
times.
seen the Bad News Bears
It's
yet?
all about that flavor,
No,
baby.
hasn't seen that yet.
That's
but
maybe the
Rookie
best
of
one.
the year.
All the good stuff. Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams is a little slow
Okay.
for him,
Wow.
but
Mariners missed the playoffs by a game as usual.
and the
Terp
Seahawks missed the
City.
playoffs by a game. It's
Wow.
just Seattle sports
Yeah.
way. That's what we do. you
But
know?
it's fun to root, just come up on a dead end every time you expect to do a thoroughfare,
Yeah.
So
Mariners ownership, get your shit together and get some talent, please.
So you were obviously in the alcohol industry, in the apparel industry, surf brand industry, and then you got into the weed industry. And cannabis is the guerrilla marketing industry. Of course, we talked about Banksy and Shepard Fairey and the guys, the taggers.
The stickas, bro.
The stickas, bro, in the beginning, but they weren't companies necessarily, and that wasn't an organized industry, so to speak. It was underground. But
still is.
now, it still is, and cannabis still is in a lot of ways, and has been for a long ass time before those dudes. It is the guerrilla industry, right?
Hey,
the
Devin, can I
ultimate.
steal you for 1 second?
So you got to get creative. He's not hitting it.
Nah, he's putting
Oh, he's putting it back on the
Sorry, he's
thing.
keeping things
On
in
its
safe places.
Well, if you're
Yeah.
watching on YouTube,
Sorry about that.
you'll see on the camera,
My bad.
look for Leaf Life Podcast V2. There's the beautiful mothership piece. And I hate to mention the value of it because Scott Deppie was in here and he told us, but he said 15, 20 racks, right? So it's a
Wild.
beautiful piece of art and it's on a turnstile. So you can see every element of that thing on camera. Follow us at Leaf Life Podcast V2.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for the
I like
turnstile, Kels.
Something that
Yes.
you brought up when you were talking about Quicksilver, and I wanted to ask was you said the need to guerrilla market. And so, for me, it immediately made me think about cannabis and the need of guerrilla marketing that we had. Ours had to do a little bit with legalization and, of course, with the budget, right? But what was it for Quicksilver and, those brands?
What do you mean
Was
the
it-
budget?
Was it the budget? Is that why, people have
marketing
to
budget?
get out there to, guerrilla market? Or is it more intentional? Is it something that startups are, doing to scale up and, you know what I mean?
I think it in time, the budgets got bigger.
Marketing
But
budgets.
at the start, it was all about just brand awareness.
Right.
They weren't raking in the beverage sort of budgets or large corporation sort of budgets. I mean, your advertising lane was Surfer Magazine, Surfing Magazine. There was more print came in time, but really word of mouth videos. You just didn't have that avenue, and I really think it was because it was so counterculture at that
Right.
time. Not until the early 2000s is when X Games became a little bit more popular, and people were like, "What's this?"
It's just like
skating and-
cannabis,
Yes, same thing. And
Just
that's what's-
like cannabis,
And
brother.
magazines
is.
play a big impact on guerrilla marketing, especially free publications for the people.
I agree.
And
Well,
you
that's
you guys
traditional.
are-
It feels like it comes out of a sense of
That's traditional marketing.
saving, like preserving your assets and doing the most you can, in the quickest way possible, localizing your marketing. I that's mad respect to guerrilla marketing.
Yeah. And I think, to the Leaf, it is a traditional lane. You're right, Ricker. But I feel like the way that you distributed and where you distributed was a little bit more guerrilla. The product was traditional, but can't go to Barnes and Noble and get this.
Yeah.
Well, you could get
exactly.
High Times,
You know?
you could
Yeah,
get
you-
Marijuana Venture.
Yeah.
But that's not a debate. We just want to know about your ideas
Got
in
it.
guerrilla marketing. And, we're commercial, bro.
Yeah.
We've been in 14 states, since the inception. And we're about to turn 15 years old. Cannabis, by default, is a guerrilla market. Right? People have had to get real creative to sell their shit, not just in the legal industry, but in the black market as well.
Yeah.
And you've thought of some very innovative ways to get a company's brand out there into the public sphere without doing it traditionally and having it be so cool and so innovative that it is effective.
Yeah.
And with something like Canada, you've worked for the coolest companies. Quicksilver's a cool fucking company.
Yeah.
PBR, PABST Blue Ribbon, is now in the weed space in
Yeah.
California. They got a
Dope.
brand
Amazing.
there.
Yep.
And Cookies, come on. They're the biggest company in cannabis, period.
Cannabis brand, I would
Yeah.
say.
Brand,
Probably
yeah.
But
globally.
these are
Yeah.
all companies that market unconventionally for the most part. Red Bull was that way. Now you see them on TV commercials, but they still have this underground feel to them. So your brain comes from that very innovative place where you say, how can we break the rules and still feel for people to feel like we're inside of those lines, and therefore it feels natural and they want to come get our product.
Yeah. So I feel like putting your brand in places that are more mainstream, more traditional, like a baseball game, going back to the All-Star, said I'd kind of touch on that. We know Occidental Street going to any game, whether it's a Seahawks or Mariner game, is heavy traffic. You're going to get thousands of people walking by. So we made some pretty easy, call me a sign spinner for that couple of days, but literally said, stay hydrated, free water, download WEEDMAPS.
And high was spelled was spelled H-I-G-H?
Correct.
Gotcha.
And the, water closed and we know can go into a venue. So why not get the free water for to bring it in and not pay $7.50 for it?
Yeah.
I love it.
So that was one. We've also done a couple of Seahawks games where I'll have the same sign spinning there: stay high and dry, free ponchos, and download WEEDMAPS. Our brand is now going in. We have teal ponchos. They're free. So, you can see those potentially on the national broadcast for Sunday Night Football.
Smart.
So these sort of things you can be placed in, strategically, of course, but ideally latching on to large exposure, whether it's foot traffic or, something that's on mainstream TV, like a national football game. Some of the first ones that we did back in 2016 and 17 were guerrilla tailgates. So we all know that tailgating is big in certain parts of the country, primarily the Midwest, but we did a lot in SoCal. The one that sticks out for me was in Arizona. It was not rec at the time.
Crazy down there, bro.
It was not legal at the time.
It was not
I
legal.
lived in the South, but dude, Arizona, those guys go nuts.
Yeah, it was, we bought a parking pass, pulled up the WEEDMAPS van in the lot, and eventually put out my tent, which was branded. And some guy that really loved his job eventually came around and was like, do you have a permit to do this? I'm like, permit to pop up a tent and park a van? Because that's what they're doing. He's like, well, this is branded and da-da-da, and gave me a reason for why it's illegal or not accepted. So I ended up getting run out of there. They ended up telling me I had to go outside of the lot. And nobody could really explain why, but I think it was just a real, more conservative approach around the subject, and they were just like, you can't be in here, and they didn't really say anything, but there was multiple people that were witnessing this that were like, he's not doing anything wrong, like advocating for me to be there to just tailgate. And that rippled out. We got some pictures and this and that, but that was just one case that just really kind of, again, going back to Quicksilver, PABST was pretty about the culture and anti-AB sort of budgets, and Heineken, we weren't that. We didn't want to be that. Cannabis, to your point, and WEEDMAPS, I kind of brought that in the same mentality of like sticking it to the man, that's guerrilla. Like you said, way back, hiding in the bushes. Kind of hiding the bushes, but now in modern time, it's like, I ain't hiding the bushes. I'm gonna expose this from the bushes potentially, or if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. And that sort of, I think, approach and getting yourself, your brand, your activation, if we want to call it that, in those places for masses to see or masses to talk about is guerrilla.
And today, all of social media outside of Twitter is heavily censored. And so the algorithms are controlled. And if you have a product or a subject that isn't mainstream or fits the narrative, which cannabis currently doesn't, you end up shadow banned. And so you can spend all that time trying to reach an audience that's artificially restricted. And that's the sad truth of today's marketing. It's back then it was stick it to the man, don't put an ad in the newspaper. But now it's like, it's not even Mark Zuckerberg. It's not like, there is no man. It's just a system that is not going to let organic messaging out through social media. So how do you build a counterculture brand? You have to go outside mainstream media, and you can still do it with a sticker. There's still the next great supreme is just one sticker away. And when I think of that, it's, you know, a great cannabis brand, Dab Stars, was started at an event I threw, and he had one sticker. He had a bumper sticker that said Dab Star on it. And it was a 2-day event. He spent the whole first day trying to sell the sticker for like $25, and nobody would fucking buy it. Literally. And he was like, what am I going to do?
Is Jonah?
Jonah.
Yeah, you know it.
Jonah, Jonah Tacoma.
Jonah
Love
is Dab
Jonah.
Stars.
So day 2, Jonah comes back and he's like, hold this and I'll take a photo of you with it. And it said Dab and then the Rockstar star and then star. And all of a sudden, a brand was born, and he got like 10 people, 15 people to take a photo with it, put it on social media, made a Dab Stars page, blew up, one sticker. One single sticker.
That's
And
such a
he's
good
still
story.
doing it today. Dab Stars Facebook is a real presence.
Yeah.
He's made, you know, real money and fed his family off of that one sticker that he couldn't sell that first day, but you know, the brand presence of it. So there's a lot of power in guerrilla marketing, and there's a lot of power in going outside of what we see through our controlled media today. And that's also why the Leaf is still here, is because it is a classical platform, but it is certainly independent and guerrilla.
And it's been around since before the social media. I mean, the reason the guerrilla marketing came about was because there wasn't free channels. You couldn't just go on Instagram, sign up an account, and promote your brand. You had to pay for that marketing. And so guerrilla marketing really put it to the end. And again, the Leaf was one of those first foremosts, you know, in our industries that brought that to us.
True guerrilla marketing. We're very proud to say that we're still here, and we're becoming more guerrilla every day. All right.
Or Lorax.
Devin, now it's time for you to play Awkward.
Awkward.
My favorite
You know this game, right, bro?
I do.
He did this to you too.
I'm glad I kind of got you on it a little earlier.
Gotta push back a little.
I like it.
Awkward. I don't like that. I cry when I don't get my way. You know this, right?
He's a prima donna.
Prima donna, bro. What can I tell you, dog? Fucking A. So are you, by the way. So is Wes.
Yeah, we all are, I guess.
Wes was a tennis player.
He also cleans fish.
I wouldn't claim you guys as prima donnas.
We used to beat the shit out of dudes in tennis, didn't you, Wes?
I was an angry tennis player.
Okay. What do
So
they
maybe
call that?
I was a prima donna. I was a little John McEnroe.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Do you have a better forehand or a backhand?
I had a great backhand.
Okay.
All right.
Strength in that
Don't
backhand.
test me.
Okay.
Don't test it.
I'll just see the shit out of you.
He whips my ass in tennis.
I played
And
tennis in
ping pong.
college
I was gonna
too.
say,
But
how
that's
about some
it.
Pong?
That's it. That's all.
Pong.
Ricker wins in every other game of skill and chance.
This is true.
We should play some
I've
tennis.
played them.
All right, here we go.
Tennis tournament.
Number one, Devin.
That would be a good one.
You're known as a big family man with 2 gorgeous children and an amazing wife. Would you ever consider selling your kids for a yacht?
Oh my God.
Absolutely not.
What a good man. That's Pono right there.
You gotta have like
No
at
way,
least
man.
5 kids
Bro,
to
Jeff Bezos.
consider selling one for a yacht.
Just
when
one?
you just have 2, they're very special.
It's going to be a smaller boat too.
No.
No
When
way.
you get to like 5 or
Okay.
6 kids, you might be like, yeah, that one really annoying one.
You know what's funny is
Or is that weird?
talking about we've got a 20-foot little Regal, grateful to have a boat,
Nice.
and kids are getting to play on that. But
That's
I think
awesome,
bro. We might sell it this summer. One more summer, and then
to
just
keep the kids.
No, to buy someone else's.
It's either that or get them oars.
All
One
right,
of the two.
here we go. Number 2. How many girlfriends did you have before your wife?
Awkward, bro. You don't need to answer that. If it's gonna get you in trouble, just claim awkward.
Awkward. Don't know.
There's nobody.
Don't answer
there's
that
no woman
question,
he
bro.
remembers before his wife. That's the right answer, right? That's it. That's the answer.
All right, here we go. Number 3.
Good job, Mike. You nailed it.
Good job. You win.
Sucker.
What's the biggest lie you've ever told? It's not about the number of girlfriends?
Awkward.
Santa.
Is it-
Weird. Yeah.
Is it Santa telling the kids?
How does that go?
It's going. The little guy's holding on. Big sis has figured that out.
Nice, but they're trying to keep it together.
They're trying to keep it together.
Good.
Yeah, man.
It's funny where they want to. You hit that age at like 10 where you want to believe, but you also know.
Yeah,
it's
I
mom
mean,
and
we've
dad.
seen enough. I forget what movie it was. It was like one of the Christmas movies this year that came out.
And they just dropped it
all
on them.
about.
You haven't answered the question.
Awk.
Weird. Well, I'll just say that there was multiple,
Lies.
that
More than one? Like a tie for 10?
Pre-18.
Gotcha. Fair, bro.
Yeah.
My
To the
brother.
folks.
Love you, baby.
No,
Where can we find you on social media?
Well, it's still active, but I am not active.
Okay.
It's Instagram. Full name, Devin Ryan.
Keone,
bra.
Hey.
Yeah.
Shaba.
Instagram. That's it. But I've limited my social media presence.
Appreciate
recently.
you coming back, brother. Thank
you.
you so much for being on the Leaf Life podcast again. You're a
Thank
great
you for
man.
having me. Appreciate it.
Great to see you, Devin.
Yeah.
Hey, Wes, next week, DMT.
Let's blast off.
Oh yeah, to infinity and
guest host again?
beyond.
Hey.
Download this and all Leaf Life episodes at leafmagazines.com. And please subscribe on YouTube at Leaf Life Podcast V2. Now get ready for another episode of Stony Baloney, which is also available at leafmagazines.com. And please be kind to animals.
Your hosts for Leaf Life are Mike Ricker and Wes Abney. Leaf Life is produced by Mike Daly. Some of the music heard is provided by purple-planet.com. Every bit of cannabis you use is female, so please respect the ladies. Leaf Life is brought to you by Leaf Nation, featuring Alaska Leaf, Oregon Leaf, Northwest Leaf, Maryland Leaf, Utah Leaf, Northeast Leaf, and California Leaf. On the shelf now in your local retailer. Now, please stay tuned for this week's edition of Stony Baloney by Mike Ricker.
Stony Baloney by Mike Ricker.
I miss Guitar Hero. Let's face reality. The world is a much less rocking place now that a landfill somewhere is stacked with obsolete guitar controllers. It's kind of sad that gone are the days when all you had to do was turn on the television, throw a strap around the neck, and instantaneously morph into an imaginary rock god. With the backflip of the head, an involuntary scrunch of the face, and one long, high-pitched lick on the plastic fretboard, there was no denying that you were meant to headline MSG. That's Madison Square Gardens, not monosodium glutamate. My tummy just rumbled. Just think of how much greater the pandemic could have been if we were still heroic guitarsmiths. Sure, a few fences were repaired and thousands of poorly written autobiographies begun, but all at the brutal cost of what could have potentially developed into a new pool of six-string leviathans. You see, instead of developing the rhythmic cadences that become the stepping stones for the next generation's stairway to heaven, these future Proud Boys are instead spraying attacking aliens with automatic rifles and flamethrowers while they could be ripping licks. God knows more teenagers need the invaluable knowledge of how to charbroil a burger. Something is missing, and it's the living room stardom that has abandoned us thanks to the plug being pulled on the proverbial amp. And rock is now officially dead. Because with no practice axe to make the fingers skillfully nimble, the only fire under their asses to go seek their rightful heir to the holy rock stardom throne will be from the match that singes their dingleberries from lighting their own farts. Guitar Hero was the initiation into potential immortality, learning music by Braille, one imperative note at a time. You could be anyone, Eddie Van Halen, Jimmy Page, Slash. It was so much more than just a video game, but a position on the sacred stage. And I miss it. So I smoke cannabis to quell my sadness. Hey, that sounds like a lyric.
Stony baloney. These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming.
Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment.
Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug.
There may be health risks associated with consumption of these products.
For use by adults 21 and older.
Keep out of the reach of children.